Speedway World Cup 2002 started at a wet and slippery Sheffield, where the home favourites Great Britain took the battle to the Australians. But despite some heroics from former world champion Mark Laram, the Brits lost out to the Aussies by 4 points and would join the Czech Republic in the race-off in event number 4. So Australia going through to the final, a very clever use of the joker, making the difference between first and second place. Event 2 was at Poole in Dorset, and on familiar territory, 4 times world champion Tony Rickardsson led his Swedish team to a victory with a perfect maximum score. The battle for the runner-up slot produced intense competition between Denmark, who started badly, and Finland, who scented an opportunity. The Danes eventually beat the Finns, but would have to go to the race-off, as Sweden earned their place in the World Cup final. So 2 events down, and we already knew that it would be Australia versus Sweden in the final. Denmark and Finland would race again in the race-off. Eastbourne was venue 3, and the competition was just as fraught, as one more country could qualify directly to the final to join Australia and Sweden. On the night, it was Poland, runners-up in Speedway World Cup 2001, that took the battle to the feisty American team and came out ahead, thanks to a squad with strength in depth. The Russians and Slovenians were outclassed and out of the competition. So Poland had chance for revenge, having been beaten by the Australians in Poland in 2001. The United States would go to the race-off, but no further for Russia and Slovenia. Event 4 was that all-important race-off to determine the last 2 teams to go to the final. Denmark, the United States, Great Britain, the Czech Republic and Finland waged a battle royal throughout the evening at Peterborough. The competition balanced on a knife edge throughout, as the Czechs, Danes, Americans and Brits all took turns up front. The highs and lows of motorsport were there for everyone. But the Czechs proved the most consistent, as the rain began to fall and conditions got worse and worse. Life was getting more difficult for the riders. There was some great determination being shown. But then this spectacular crash for Denmark's Nicky Pedersen was the last straw, and the racing was curtailed. Denmark and the United States were tied for second place. The racing had stopped, the jury had to decide, and the decision went to Denmark, having scored more heat victories on the night than the United States. So the United States and Great Britain were out, the Czech Republic and Denmark were through to the final. So we're now set for the World Cup final, where 5 teams will be chasing the chance to get their hands on the magnificent Ove Fundin Trophy. And the team lineup sees Australia returning with the same team that served them so well at Sheffield in race 1. Lee Adams, team captain, but what a strong lineup with a number of regular Grand Prix riders, the top riders in the world in that Australian team. The Swedish team, though, could give them a good battle here at Peterborough. Great experience of racing in the UK from a number of the team members, and led by 4 times world champion Tony Rickardsson. Do not discount the Swedes. They'll be racing in yellow. Poland were runners-up last year to Australia, but this time they'll be looking to go one better. Tomasz Golob leads the team. Jaroslav Hampel was the star of the qualifying round. They'll be riding in blue. The Czech Republic was perhaps the surprise winner of the race-off. Alice and Lucas Drimmel were key members of the team, and it's led by the experienced Tony Kasper. They'll be riding in green. In the history of international speedway competition, the Danes have had the most success. Might be tougher for them now, but they're led by the experienced Nicky Pedersen. They ride in white. But there's no doubt that the favourites tonight are Australia.
Well, I guess we got some track specialists here, Ryan and Jason. You know, Ryan's fantastic around here, and Jason used to race here, but you know, we're not taking anything for granted. Look what happened Sunday. You know, the English guys really crept up and surprised us, so we'll see what happens.
The first of 25 heats took place in dry conditions, and the track looking in great shape. All eyes on Tony Rickardsson in the first heat, team captain for Sweden, and expected to do well once again here in Peterborough. But it wasn't the best start for Tony Rickardsson off gate number 4, and in fact Alice Drimmel for the Czech Republic off gate 1 was the man with the advantage. The Czechs riding in green, and Alice Drimmel was long gone. Australia's Todd Wiltshire moved up to second place to take the 3 points, but 4 points going to Alice Drimmel, the perfect start for the Czechs.
Yeah, you know, I chose the number 1 because I knew the gate one will be perfect, So I thought I can, get the Czech team running. So I did. Hopefully it will end up good. We'll see.
Heat number 2 was one of those heats that went on and on. First of all, we saw problems for Jason Lyons, excluded for touching the tapes. A bad mistake for the Australian team. On the restart, we were down to 4 riders. Tomasz Golob in blue for the Polish team, riding well, but under a fair bit of attack from just about everybody, including Ronnie Pedersen. But it was Pedersen who went down. Riding for the Danes, just couldn't quite keep the grip. And then we were down to 3. Tomasz Golob took the advantage once again at the start, and this time it went the full 4-lap distance. Second place for Niklas Klingberg, a good result for Sweden, and third place and 2 points for Tomas Topinka of the Czech Republic. That's how close it was on the line, but a great win for Tomasz Golob. 5 riders were back in shape once again for heat number 3. Lee Adams riding for Australia and making the best getaway. Behind him, Charlie Gedd of Denmark was battling with the Czech rider Lukas Trimmel. But there was no doubt about the winner. Maximum 4 points for Lee Adams, taking the Australians onto 7, matched by Sweden and the Czech Republic. On to heat number 4, and the Australians had Jason Crump coming out to play this time. Jaroslav Hampel for the Polish team, who'd been such a star earlier in the week, and it was fast and furious action up front once again. Hampel for the Poles getting out in front, and Jason Crump finding himself further back than he would have expected in red, fighting his way up into third place, but the 4-point maximum going to Poland.
Yeah, the track is very wet right now, but I'm winning the start. I have a gate number 1, and gate number 1 is very good right now. And then I race the first, and it's very good but raining right now, and it's not so good weather right now.
Heat number 5 got underway, and it didn't quite make it all the way to the first corner. Those 5 riders ran out of space. Ryan Sullivan lifting a little bit off the line, sliding wide, and crashing into Greg Valasek up on the outside. Valasek took the tumble. Nobody was blamed for that, and they would all be set for the restart. Heat number 5 then. Let's see if we can get a clean start this time. Stefan Andersson on the inside for Sweden. Then it's Denmark's Bjørn Pedersen in gate 2. Ryan Sullivan from the middle. Tony Kasper for the Czech Republic. And then Greg Valasek, who took the tumble in that initial start. He's up on the outside. Let's hope we can get away cleanly this time. And just remember, at the moment, Sweden with a 1-point advantage over Australia, and then a further point back to the Czech Republic. It's all close stuff. Away we go, and who's it going to be? It's the first corner. Stefan Andersson from the inside makes an excellent start for Sweden, but here comes Ryan Sullivan. Look at Sullivan, goes right out wide on the exit of the first bend, and in fact that drops him back down into third place. So it's Stefan Andersson leading this race for Sweden, and Bjørn Pedersen's going well, up into second place for Denmark. Australia, perhaps surprisingly, with Ryan Sullivan. Remember, he's joint leader in the World Championship at the moment with Tony Rickardsson, but he's been pushed back down into third, and he's got a little bit of work to do on this track he knows so well. Rides regularly at Peterborough, and now trying to get his way into second place. Look at that beautiful move right up the inside, classic move, almost a front wheel on the grass, and it takes Ryan Sullivan and Australia up into second place, chasing after Stefan Andersson. Andersson riding beautifully at the moment. He came off gate 1, that inside gate, and has made the perfect getaway, but he now has Ryan Sullivan bearing down on him. Bjørn Pedersen still there in third place, looking for an opportunity to come back, but it's not quite happening. Greg Valasek for Poland is currently in fourth place. The win, it goes to Stefan Andersson, 4 points to him, and that puts Sweden slightly further ahead in these early stages of the competition. So let's just check through the results. Stefan Andersson with the 4 points for the victory. Ryan Sullivan earning 3 after moving back into second. No points for the Czech Republic on this occasion. So disappointment for Tony Kasper. Overall, that means Sweden now has a 2-point advantage over Australia. Poland and the Czech Republic separated by 1 point, but Denmark's still in it as well. Now let's take a look back. Ryan Sullivan off the middle there, didn't really get away terribly well in red. Remember, Australia, and up front it was Sweden's Stefan Andersson who had the advantage, but look at Sullivan, he cut across what took so much speed in that he had to go right out to the edge again, and then this was him moving up into second, and look how he had the front wheel on the grass. That's okay, as long as both wheels aren't on the grass, that's perfectly legal, and Ryan Sullivan was able to move up into second position. Now we're getting ready for heat number 6. Quite late coming out, Thomas Topinka for the Czech Republic, making his way to the line, but he's in time. Look, still 40 seconds to go, and others still messing around. This is Greg Walasek of the Polish team, also trying to get to the line in time, and he's got some sort of problems. Well, he's got hooked up there with one of the cables, and that's not going to help him. They've got to get that untangled from the rear wheel, otherwise he's not going to make it to the line in time. This is not good news at all. Look at the clock counting down, and he could be excluded here. Greg Walasek of Poland, they're not going to get him out in time. He will be excluded, surely. Yes, look, the light comes on, he's excluded. And Poland, well, what a crazy way to lose valuable points. Here we are, just 4 riders now set for the start of heat number 6. And away they go. Todd Wiltshire, the Australian in red, gets away very well, but also getting away well up on the outside there. Hans Andersen for Denmark. Is he going to be past Wiltshire, trying to come back at him? Hans Andersen goes all the way around the edge of the track, looking for a bit more grip. But Wiltshire it is who gets in front for Australia. And Denmark pushed back down to 2nd place with Hans Andersen. So Sweden in 3rd. Peter Carlsen holding on to 3rd place. Here comes Andersen back at Wiltshire. Great racing this between these two. Remember, Wiltshire had a maximum score in the qualifying round. He was one of the stars for Australia, but they're absolutely together. This is fantastic. And Hans Andersen for Denmark just showing the team spirit there as he is back in front of the well-favoured Australians. This is a real surprise, I have to say. Hans Andersen riding out of his skin, and lap after lap, there's nothing to choose between these two. It's going to go down to the wire. Here comes Todd Wiltshire up on the outside. Wiltshire looking to get that 4-point maximum. Mustn't make a big mistake here. It's about consistency tonight as well. It's Andersen who takes the win. What a race for Denmark. 4 points to them, and fully deserved. That was a fabulous battle throughout, and Hans Andersen taking the victory in heat number 6, and he has every reason to be delighted. Todd Wiltshire has to settle for 2nd. Sweden take 3rd. The Czech Republic just 1 point, and of course Poland excluded, no points from that one. So overall, that means that Australia are still close behind Sweden. Denmark getting a little closer as well after a great victory for Hans Andersen. Well, this battle raged throughout, didn't it? Todd Wiltshire in red there had the initial start, but Andersen was well placed on the first corner, ran out a little bit wide, and it looked like Wiltshire had made it through. But Andersen was not giving up, and then he took to the inside. Wiltshire didn't know he was there initially, soon did know he was there, and Andersen was able to just sneak past and hold on to the win.
Yeah, to be honest, I feel quite a lot of pressure on me. I shouldn't really, because it's almost everyone is Grand Prix riders, so, but I'm well happy with my first one. I think the inside gate was really good to start with in the meeting, so I feel happy.
Were you the only Swede to have won tonight?
Yeah, but I think the rest of the boys, I mean, it's so awkward out there. If you miss the start, it's so awkward to pass, so hopefully the rain stops and we'll be able to win more races.
Heat number 7 saw Jason Lyons make a reappearance for the Australians. Earlier on, he had touched the tapes, remember, and had not got a race in, so it was his first experience of Peterborough on the evening, and unfortunately, he didn't get away at all. Well, again, Lyons was right at the back, as up front, it was a good start for Bjarne Pedersen, and Denmark seemed to be the team in form at this stage in the competition. Having seen Hans Andersen take the maximum score earlier, it looked like Bjarne Pedersen was heading the same way, despite being chased by Michael Carlsen. At the back, Jason Lyons just could not do anything, and it was indeed another victory for Denmark. Bjarne Pedersen scoring the 4 points, Michael Carlsen 3 points for 2nd place, and the 2 points for 3rd going to Piotr Protasiewicz of Poland. That puts Sweden in front by 4 points from Australia.
The track is a little tricky out there tonight, but I gave really good gate and go around in the outside, so in the dirt out there, and it's working really good.
Like you say, it's a bit tricky out there. Is most of the grip on the outside?
Yeah, I think we'll move a little more out in the track now. They slip on the inside, and when you hit the dirt, it's really heavy.
In heat number 8, Lee Adams made his reappearance, but problems indeed for the Czech Republic rider Bo Brahel. He touched the tapes and was thereby excluded. Once again, you could see it was the man in green who made the mistake. Out he went. And that was sad news for the Czechs, who were running well in the competition at this point. Right, we're ready for the restart. Heat number 8. We've got Bo Brahel excluded, of course. Tomáš Golob in blue from the inside. Lee Adams in red for Australia. Stefan Andersen for Sweden in the middle, and up on the outside, Nicky Pedersen. Let's watch out, see what happens. This is a tough lineup, I have to say. Lee Adams in red for Australia, but battling with him is Tomasz Golob, and it is Tomasz Golob, the Polish superstar, who's got in front of the Australian. Coming around the outside is Stefan Andersson for Sweden, and at the back it is Nicky Pedersen. And Pedersen needs to do something a bit more spectacular than this. Had a good outing last time out, remember, to get through to this final from the race-off. Denmark matched the United States in points, but it was Pedersen who had that frightening-looking accident. Survived that okay, but he's not scoring particularly well in this race. Up front, it's Tomasz Golob, and Poland looking to try and take the maximum score here as the competition really is hotting up in these early stages. There goes Pedersen, and he's moved up into third position. He's got past Stefan Andersson, but it is Tomasz Golob up front. Great ride this from the Polish star, and you know, it's a bit of a surprise that Poland didn't play the joker on this race, having Golob out there, and he had gate 1 as well, and they are 8 points behind. In fact, they're 9 points off the lead. That allows them to play the joker, but they haven't done so. Golob wins it anyway. He takes 4 points. Just imagine if they've doubled that up and he would have scored 8. That could have brought Poland right back into the competition. But it's not the case. They're still not far away, and they'll be delighted with a victory over Australia at this stage of the competition. Denmark in third place there. Stefan Andersson for Sweden, only managing 4th. And of course, Bo Brahel was excluded. So overall, Sweden now have 2 points over Australia.
You play the joker?
Yeah, I don't know. It's my manager the decision. This track is very good. It's much water. This moment is very good.
But a very good win for you puts you back in the meeting, yeah?
Yeah, maybe.
Tonight on 2.
And listen to the roar from the crowd.
Get ready for the final round of the Speedway Grand Prix live.
It's really hotting up here. Brave, consistent, committed.
Feel the excitement of all the sideways action.
He had to be aggressive. He had to go for it.
No brakes, no gears, no fears. Live, the final round of the Speedway Grand Prix. Tonight on 2.
Welcome back to Peterborough, where we're in the Speedway World Cup Final 2002, and it's quite a competition. Conditions not bad at all. Sweden 2 points ahead of Australia. There's a 4-point gap between Denmark and the lead. Poland are now within 5 points of the lead themselves. The Czech Republic still in the battle. This is going to be fought all the way to heat number 25, I reckon, at this rate. Now in heat number 9, Jason Crump came up against Tony Rickardson, and it was a beautiful getaway for Jason Crump, the Australian, from the inside gate. And he made it look all very easy from that point on. It wasn't such a good time for Tony Rickardson, surprisingly, the team captain for the Swedish team, only in third position. Problems, unfortunately, for Ronnie Pedersen. Mechanical failure, putting him out of the race, and Denmark failing to score. But with victory in this race, Jason Crump's 4 points put Australia right up there with Sweden, who had been leading before the heat. But with Rickardson only finishing in third place, that meant we had a tie at the top once again, and Poland were only 4 points behind. What if they had played the joker a little earlier? Right, heat number 10 coming up. Now, Ryan Sullivan hasn't had a particularly good start to the evening so far. Let's see what he can do on this occasion. He's starting from gate 4. It's Niklas Klingberg for Sweden in gate 1. Charlie Gied for Denmark in gate 2. Alice Drimmel for the Czechs in the middle. And Jaroslav Hampel for the Polish team up on the outside. Still the rain falling, but it's not too heavy. Away we go then, and Alice Drimmel from the inside trying to make a great getaway, and he does so pretty well. Ryan Sullivan getting into trouble there. Ryan Sullivan losing a lot of time, a lot of places, and he's right back down in 5th, maybe 4th as he goes around the top bend. But a great start for Jaroslav Hampel, and Hampel's managed to move in front now. So Alice Drimmel had the initial advantage, he's dropped away, and now it's the Polish rider who's up front. Here comes Ryan Sullivan trying to make up for that bad first turn, and he's now up into third place, so he is recovering ground, and he's chasing after Sweden's Niklas Klingberg. But Poland in charge at the moment. There is Jaroslav Hampel. What a surprise package he has been this week, not only here at Peterborough, but earlier on in the qualifying rounds, he was the star rider for the Polish team. He glances over his shoulder, and look at the advantage he has. It's an easy win in prospect here for Poland. As long as the bike stays together, he shouldn't be in trouble. The battle for second is between Sweden's Niklas Klingberg and Australia's Ryan Sullivan. And I think this one is going to go the way of Sweden by the look of it. It's the win for Poland. Hampel wins it. Second place for Klingberg of Sweden, and Ryan Sullivan of Australia has to settle for third. So after Australia and Sweden were tying at the top, that now means Sweden go back ahead. But I have to say, Poland is right in that battle with another victory there. They're only a couple of points behind Australia. Let's take a look at the result. Hampel taking the 4-point maximum, the Czech Republic failing to score. Surprising that after Alice Trimmel managed to get away well. And that brings Sweden 1 point ahead of Australia again, Poland close behind. Well, the umbrellas are out, but I'm glad to say it's not too bad.
Yeah, Bjarne Pedersen's going very good. Charlie's really going for it, but, I'm taking him out, putting Bjarne Pedersen on gate 1.
Is it because it's gate 1?
It's because it's Bjarne Pedersen and it's gate 1 and it's exciting. We're going for 8 points.
Well, this is going to be a crucial moment for the Danes. They had a good run going earlier on. They seem to have lost momentum. It's time to play the joker. Bjarne Pedersen can double up his score with this race, and he's on gate 1. Wiltshire for Australia, Kasper for the Czech Republic, Carlsen for Sweden, and then it's Tomasz Golob up on the outside for Poland. Tough battle, this one. Away we go, and Bjarne Pedersen trying to make the most of that inside gate, playing the joker, but here comes Golob. Tomasz Golob from the outside, cuts around. Oh, that was a beautiful start and great first corner from the experienced Tomasz Golob. And now Bjarne Pedersen in second place is coming under threat from Michael Carlsen of Sweden. And Michael Carlsen does go up into second position. Very experienced himself, not yet a winner of a Grand Prix, but coming back at him is Bjarne Pedersen. Pedersen, look at this. This is what the Danes need. They need him to score well playing the joker. He will double up his score. At the moment, he's in second. That's 3 points doubled up to 6. But here comes Carlsen again. Michael Carlsen wants to get into second place and deny the Danes that opportunity. And in fact, Bjarne Pedersen has closed up to Tomasz Golob. It's all changed amongst these top 3. For the moment, it's Tomasz Golob in control. He glances over his shoulder, and Poland looking for 4 points for the victory here, as Bjarne Pedersen again comes under a little bit of pressure from Michael Carlsen, who will not give up in his chase. Behind them at the moment is not looking so good for Australia. Todd Wiltshire's down in 4th place, and Tony Kasper for the Czechs is in 5th. It's the win for Poland. Tomasz Golob takes it, but a very important second place there for Bjarne Pedersen. 3 points doubled up to 6 playing the joker, and that brings Denmark right back into the competition. Well, a good battle between Pedersen and Carlsen, and Pedersen did just enough to hold on, take the 6 points because of playing the joker. And that was, I think, a clever time for the Danes to play the joker. Just look at how that's brought them back into the competition. They are in 4th, but they are now just 4 points off Sweden, the leaders. Now, here was Bjarne Pedersen. He had gate 1 and tried to make the most of that, but he could not do anything about Tomasz Golob. Golob started right up on the outside. You don't see him yet, but he's coming around the outside here, and there, Golob managed to get in front of Bjarne Pedersen. But Pedersen then did everything else expected of him, despite losing second briefly to Michael Carlsen, number 4 there up on the outside. He claimed it back at the end. Now, in the next heat, heat number 12, Jason Lyons was riding for the Australians, and again, not having a good night, it has to be said. Chris Zagelski was the Polish rider up in front after an excellent getaway, and Hans Andersen for Denmark managed to squeeze his way into second place. Again, Andersen riding very, very well all evening so far. Jason Lyons only scoring 1 point for Australia, but what a great finish it was.
Yeah, we are a little bit dirty and that pace not really good, so we have to win it now and keep going and be on the top in the end.
In heat number 13, Lee Adams had the task for Australia of trying to get them back on track just a little bit. In fact, up front, it wasn't an Australian, it was the Danish rider Bjarne Pedersen. But problems for the Czech rider Thomas Topinka meant no score for the Czechs in this one. Lee Adams in second place for Australia as the battle for third raged between Sweden's Tony Rickardsson, still not having a great evening, it has to be said. No sign of the normal form that we would expect from the 4 times world champion. He was only just managing to keep Jaroslav Hampel behind him. Denmark therefore came through to take the 4 points maximum, beating Australia, and that brought Denmark right back into the competition. In fact, the 4 top teams separated by just 2 points after 13 heats, half distance, in the Speedway World Cup final. Tony Rickardsson not having the best evening so far, though, it has to be said. And as we get ready now for heat number 14, we see it's Nicky Pedersen for Denmark on the inside, Greg Valasek for Poland gate 2, Jason Crump from the middle, Lucas Drimmel for the Czechs, and Niklas Klingberg is the Swedish representative this time, needing to pull something out of the bag just a little bit perhaps, after Rickardsson not having such a good time. Here we go then. Everybody getting in position. Away we go, Jason Crump from the middle trying to get away, but it's an excellent getaway for Nicky Pedersen, the Danish rider from gate number 1, but here comes Greg Valasek as well, the Pole in blue. Can he get through? No, he can't, because coming around the outside is Lucas Drimmel. Lucas Drimmel in green for the Czech Republic. Well, they need a result, that's for sure. They are the 5th team at the moment, and they're dropped off the point score of the others. But look at this contest going on behind them. Niklas Klingberg for Sweden up on the outside in yellow. Jason Crump in the middle there. And we've got Nicky Pedersen, always an aggressive rider, the Danish rider, team captain. He's in that battle as well. I don't know which way that's going to go. At the back at the moment, it is the Pole, Greg Valasek. Well, initially he got off the line okay, but now he finds himself back in 5th position. And up front, it is Lucas Drimmel, one of the 2 Drimmel brothers riding for the Czech Republic and who've performed so well this week throughout the World Cup competition. And there's problems. Oh, problems for Niklas Klingberg. And he looks set for a decent result here. And it's all over for Klingberg, so he's not going to score. So that at least brings Greg Valasek back in with the chance of scoring a point for Poland. But it is a win for Lucas Drimmel. The Czech Republic scoring 4 points there, and they could do with that, I have to say. They were down on 13 points before this race. So they're happy, but the Swedes are not happy, failing to finish that race. No points for Sweden on this occasion. They were on 29 points, so they will stay on 29 points, but moving up onto 32 points. Now we have 3 nations. Look at this, a 3-way tie at the top. Australia, Poland and Denmark, but Sweden still not far behind in 4th. Let's take a look back at that last race. Jason Crump came off the middle. Greg Valasek was on the inside for the Polish team. And also going well was Nicky Pedersen. But Jason Crump trying to fight his way through. Lucas Drimmel in green, he was the man who would come through to win this race. But look, through the first corner, it didn't look as though he'd actually made a particularly good start. Jason Crump had to battle his way up into 2nd place, using that tight inside line and again running the front wheel onto the grass virtually as he found a way past Greg Valasek. But round the outside, look at Lucas Drimmel.
Yeah, if we not have any unlocked later in the meeting, I think we can win it, but it's still a long way to go, and but we fired up for it and we go for it now.
So heat number 15 coming up. Ryan Sullivan's on gate 1. That's good news for the Australians as they try to break the tie at the top. Ronnie Pedersen for Denmark. Bo Brahel for the Czech Republic. Peter Carlson in gate 4 for Sweden. And Poland's Protasiewicz up on the outside. Well, with 3 countries tied on 32 points, I wonder which way it's going to go. Australia, Poland and Denmark all tied at the top. Who's it going to be in front? We're about to find out, and who's going to get in front at the start is Sullivan. Sullivan from gate number 1, as we might have expected from the man who is joint leader of the World Championship. He does make the best use of that inside gate. 2nd place for Protasiewicz of Poland at the moment. So the Poles in chance with getting some decent points here. 3rd place. Oh, and we've got problems. Problems for Bo Brahel of the Czech Republic. Oh, and that's really what they didn't need at all. They're on 17 points. They are languishing a little bit in 5th place in the competition. And now Bo Brahel has had mechanical misfortunes. Look at this battle going on for 3rd place. Denmark gets back in front courtesy of a good move from Ronnie Pedersen. He gets ahead of Peter Carlson. And can he hold on? Well, he's always dramatic to watch, is Ronnie Pedersen. And at the moment, he's in that 3rd place. Up front, it's Ryan Sullivan heading towards a 4-point maximum. 2nd place at the moment for Poland's Protasiewicz. He knows this place well. In fact, these 2 are teammates here at Peterborough. But for the moment, they're riding for their countries. And it's Ryan Sullivan for Australia, who with this win will take Australia in front. Protasiewicz takes 2nd place and 3rd position going to Ronnie Pedersen of Denmark, beating the Swedes on this occasion. Remember, the Czech Republic not scoring with Bo Brahel having a mechanical problem. So Ryan Sullivan, good win for him. That brings Australia in front after 3 countries were tied at the top. And it's a little while since we've seen Australia on top, but the defending World Cup champions have now earned that top place. I wonder if they're going to be able to hold on to it to the end of the competition. It's still a long way to go. 25 heats in total, 1 point the gap between Poland and Australia, another point back to Denmark. Sweden still in the hunt. Now let's look back at what happened in that last race, heat number 15. Ryan Sullivan it was from gate 1, there he is in red, appearing in view with a great start off that inside gate, and he made the best of it throughout, because once in front there was nobody who really got close to him. It was the battle behind that everybody was watching with interest, and it was Protasiewicz in blue at this point, quite a long way back. But it was him that came through to take second place of entry. Look at the way Sullivan was able to cut back on the inside of Peter Carlson on the exit of the first corner, and that was beautifully ridden from Ryan Sullivan. Peter Carlson tried to stay with him all of the way around the outside. Despite battling for the lead in the early stages, he ended up dropping back to 4th position. Now, in heat number 16, Todd Wiltshire made his appearance again for the Australians, got away well, and the battle was going on behind him between the Pole, Chris Zagelski, and the Dane, Bjarne Pedersen. Pedersen, one of the stars of the night until this race, I have to say. It didn't go too well for Pedersen on this occasion, and he had to settle for 5th place. Todd Wiltshire taking the 4-point maximum for Australia to slightly further their advantage at the top of the point standings. 4 points the gap between Australia and Poland after 16 heats, with Denmark 2 points further back and Sweden just 1 point behind their great rivals, the Danes. In heat number 17, Jason Lyons was back out for the Australians, but he was having a difficult evening and it wasn't about to get any better. Lyons was up on the outside in red for the Australians, looking to try and make a move, but down he went into the barrier on the outside. Not too heavy a fall, but it wasn't working out for poor Jason. The team tried to get him back into the rerun, but the referee was having none of it.
And still Jason Lyons should be excluded.
You think Jason is excused?
Yes. Believe me. Thank you.
Right, we're ready for the rerun now of heat number 17, and indeed confirmation, Jason Lyons being excluded. So we've got Lucas Drimmel playing the joker for the Czech Republic. He needs to double up his score, needs a good result to do that. Peter Carlson for Sweden, Jaroslav Hampel for Poland, Nicky Pedersen for Denmark, and of course nobody up on the outside now where Jason Lyons would have been. Jaroslav Hampel for Poland, let's see how he gets on. Away they go, and from gate 1, that's a great start for Lucas Drimmel. He's substituting for Tony Kasper, and he's playing the joker, remember, and he's got away extremely well, but can he now hold on to it? Back behind him, there's a good tussle going on here between Nicky Pedersen, and also on the inside is Peter Carlson for Sweden. He's in second place, is Peter Carlson. Nicky Pedersen then in 3rd position, and Jaroslav Hampel not getting away too well from that middle gate, coming through. And it looks as though Lucas Drimmel's coming under more and more threat now from Carlson for the lead here. Peter Carlson right up on the inside, trying to chase down the Czech rider. But in fact, Carlson losing out a little bit as Nicky Pedersen tries that wide outside line. Oh, where is he? It's very difficult to tell until they get onto the straight bits, because they're taking such different lines through the corners. Carlson sticks doggedly to that inside line as our race leader, Lucas Drimmel, stays out wide, and Nicky Pedersen, well, he's generally out wide, but sometimes he comes back again to the inside. It's still Lucas Drimmel. Still looks like the Czech Republic will make the most of playing their joker, going to double up their score and take 8 points. That is a very well-ridden race by this man, Lucas Drimmel, the youngster. He's in great form at the moment in the World Championship and in the World Cup, and 8 points for the Czech Republic does sort of bring them back in the competition, but there'll still be some 9 points off the next best team. Sweden scoring 3 points there, so that's very useful to the Swedes as they're in that battle with Denmark. They were behind Denmark, but that now brings the Swedes level with the Danes in 3rd place. Australia in front, but only 3 points the gap. So let's take another look at that. Lucas Drimmel from the inside, playing the joker, remember, for the Czech Republic, did everything asked of him, basically. The pressure might have been on, but he responded beautifully to that. Made the best start from gate 1. And despite the best efforts of Michael Carlson to get past him, using those very different lines, Lucas Drimmel was able to stay ahead. So we've got 8 heats to go here in the World Cup final, and there are still just 3 points between Australia and Poland. More fun to come.
On the NBL tonight, the Giants will be ready for another challenge at home. But the Hawks will be looking to spread their wings and fly. Live, Victoria face the Hawks tonight at 7:30 on One. Monday morning, 8:30. Drivers are primed and cars ready for explosive NASCAR action. The crowds are bigger than ever, and they're waiting for the green flag to fall at the Winston Cup Atlanta 500. The dangers are high, but so are the thrills. It's the greatest motorsport spectacle in the round. The Atlanta 500, Monday morning, 8:30 on 2.
The ING and AB's Trek for Kids is underway, and thanks to everyone's support, I'm on track to reach the Gabba for November the 7th. You too can make a donation by phone, the internet, or at any post office. Please help our sick and needy kids today.
This is a special news update. Your normal newscaster has been taken out of action, so to speak.
So the WWE is taking over the channel. Oh, it's true. It's damn true.
We're live backstage.
Beat it, loser. This is WWE Superstar Test, and you better watch Raw Tuesday at 8:30.
Welcome back to coverage of Speedway World Cup 2002, and a tremendous battle going on in Peterborough. Australia just 3 points ahead of Poland, then 1 point further back, both Denmark and Sweden. The Czech Republic might be slightly out of it, but what a good contest we're watching. Now, in heat number 18, Lee Adams appeared for the Australians. He had to come off gate number 3. That made it tough. Ronnie Pedersen was coming off the inside for Denmark in white, but Lee Adams had a great run through the first corner. The man who's put so much effort into the Australian team. Never won a Grand Prix, but he's won in just about everything else. Many times an Australian champion. He ran out wide, used the grip off the outside of the turn, and Lee Adams managed to sneak ahead of Ronnie Pedersen. And he would go on to take the 4-point maximum for Australia and continue to open up their advantage up front. Alice Trimmel took a good second place for the Czech Republic, still trying to get back into the competition. Third place would go the way of Denmark, with Ronnie Pedersen beating Michael Carlsen across the line. The Swedes were not having a good night.
Sure is, you know, it's a pretty tough track out there, and we haven't really got dialed in. I hope we've done a few changes now, and hope we can come with a last surge push, you know, to climb up again.
If you finished second to Australia in the next one, you could use the Joker. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, sure is. I mean, I'm not really into the team plannings and stuff, you know. I let that to Tony Olsen, but I sure have a few things up his sleeve.
What about you personally? We're so used to you riding around all conditions anywhere in the world, but tonight you seem just a little bit, by your standards, to be struggling.
Yeah, I am struggling, you know. I find the conditions very tough tonight, and haven't been making any starts, and it's extremely tough in the race when I've been out behind. So, but I changed bike now, and hopefully going to be a little bit better.
Save the best till last?
I sure hope so.
The star rider for the Czech Republic, who just won heat number 18, reappeared straight away in heat number 19, substituting for Thomas Topinka. Alice Trimmel had gate 1 again and made an excellent getaway. Jason Crump, riding for Australia, came right round the outside, trying to take that lead away from Trimmel. But despite his best efforts, there wasn't a great deal he could do about Alice Trimmel, the man in form. In the background, though, drama indeed for Sweden. Down went Stefan Andersson, involved in the battle with Protasiewicz over third place. The Swede went down. Fortunately, he wasn't too badly hurt, but it could have been the end of Sweden's hopes.
Well, I heard, I don't know what you call it, the bottom of the back.
Yeah, sternum, yeah, the coccyx.
Yeah, I've heard that, so it's probably to sit down, but I lay there for a while. I feel a bit better. Hopefully I can sit on the bike, but I just can't understand what the referee did, that decision. I mean, I know it went run straight into me. No doubt about it, straight into me. You must see it on the TV.
Stefan understandably upset. They knew at that point it was crucial. 7 points behind already, and there wasn't much time left in the chase for the Ovi Fundin Trophy. The restart, and once again we saw Alice Trimmel get away from gate number 1, and Jason Crump forcing his way around the outside to move into second place. Charlie Gjed of Denmark was in third place, and Protasiewicz only ended up with 1 point, finishing in fourth. So So Alice Drimmel took the 4 points, but in the overall rankings, what it meant was that Sweden was now dropping away from the leaders. Down on 37 points, a full 10 points off the leaders. Australia, that fall of Anderson's could be crucial. Right, we're all set for heat number 20 now, and playing the joker, Tony Rickardsson. Well, he hasn't had a particularly good night, but he does have gate 1, so I guess the Swedes have got to count on him. Ryan Sullivan is alongside. These two are battling in the World Championship as well. So is Tomas Golob, Hans Andersson for Denmark, and then Lucas Drimmel for the Czech Republic. I wonder if he can match the performances of his brother in the last couple of heats. So, Rickardsson playing the joker. Away we go, Rickardsson trying to get off gate 1, but Ryan Sullivan's going with him. Ryan Sullivan going around the outside here, but Rickardsson has got away on trouble for Lucas Drimmel. And here comes Sullivan. Oh, look at Sullivan cut ahead of Rickardsson there, but he's taken so much speed into the top bend. Can he hold it? Yes, he can. He's gone in front, and now Rickardsson's coming under pressure from Tomas Golob. Well, these three great rivals from the World Championship Grand Prix are now battling for their countries, and it's Australia who take the edge. And I wonder if this is a bit of a psychological blow for Ryan Sullivan as he battles Rickardsson in the World Championship as well. Rickardsson hasn't looked in the best of form here tonight, but he is playing the joker, and Sweden desperately need the points. They're 10 points behind Australia coming into this race. He really could do with getting in front of Sullivan, but it's not going to happen because they're going on to their last lap, and it's going to be another victory here for Australia. Still, Rickardsson can double up to a useful 6 points, and that will bring Sweden in with a chance, as Poland in third place, struggling to fend off Denmark's Hans Andersson. Good win there for Ryan Sullivan. Could be a crucial win indeed, as Australia defend their World Cup title. He beats Tony Rickardsson, and Rickardsson still scoring 6 points. Playing the joker, well, it's all getting very, very tight at the top, but Australia will be delighted with that, managing to fend off the mighty Tony Rickardsson, and overall, that means Australia have a healthy advantage, and Sweden have got themselves back ahead of Denmark into second place. So perhaps now it's heading the way of Australia, but who is going to finish second? That is still very tight between Sweden and Denmark. So heat number 21, Lucas Drimmel had mechanical problems in the last race, and he's back out again. Jaroslav Hampel for Poland, Todd Wiltshire for Australia in the middle, Peter Carlson for Sweden near the outside, Ronnie Pedersen right up on the outside. The clock ticking away, and quite late coming into position there, Lucas Drimmel. And in fact, he's on Thomas Topinka's bike. Of course, he was out a moment ago, had problems with his own, and he has taken over one of his teammates' bikes here, and just out in time for the start. Let's see what happens. Away we go, and Todd Wiltshire in the middle doesn't get away very well at all, and it's a very good getaway indeed for Jaroslav Hampel, the Polish rider. Well, that's a good effort indeed from him. He's managed to get ahead of everybody here, with Ronnie Pedersen in second place for Denmark, and he's coming under some increasing pressure here from Todd Wiltshire. But Wiltshire, not one of his best gates, I have to say, usually renowned for his fast starting, but Wiltshire for Australia finding himself down in third place. And for the moment, it's Poland who are looking set for the 4-point maximum. Well, they could certainly do with that, I have to say. Remember, they're fourth in the points battle, but they're only 3 points behind Sweden. Look at this tussle that's going on here. Todd Wiltshire and Ronnie Pedersen. Ronnie Pedersen for Denmark, just holding off the Australian. It looks good for the Polish team, however, and this, as I say, will bring them right into the hunt once again. You know, Poland were runner-up last year. Look at them, still at it here. Australia versus Denmark. Wiltshire desperate to find a way past Ronnie Pedersen, but it's not happening for him. And here comes Jaroslav Hampel. You know, I tell you what, this young lad has been one of the stars of the entire World Cup campaign for me, and that result has brought Poland into the hunt for second place. Australia, well, their lead just narrowed slightly there, with Wiltshire not managing his best result so far. Down in third place, 2 points for him, but you have to say Australia is still looking pretty comfortable. 9 points their advantage, but it's ever closer behind them, because we now have Poland, Sweden and Denmark all tied together for second position. Look at that. It couldn't be much tighter for second. Australia do have the advantage up front. Let's take a look at the replay, and Jaroslav Hampel it was who made a brilliant start. He had 2 heat victories early on in the competition tonight, had a couple of less good runs, but this time he really showed them how to do it. He had a good starting position, of course, and he made the most of that to come through and take the victory. Behind him, the battle raged, particularly with Todd Wiltshire trying to get through, but it didn't quite work for him. So now we move on to heat number 22, and look, we've got lots happening here. The Joker being played by the Polish team, and not only that, they've substituted Tomasz Golob coming in place of Greg Walasek. Nicky Pedersen substitutes for Charlie Jed for the Danes, and in fact Tony Kasper's a late substitution for Bo Brahel on the inside as well. So lots of changes going on here. And the Sweden have Tony Rickardsson in this race. The Australians have Jason Lyons, who's had a very troubled evening so far. And the Australians, remember, with the advantage overall. Let's see what happens. Away we go, and Tony Rickardsson from the outside trying to cut through now. Rickardsson versus Jason Lyons, it looks like. There's Rickardsson right up on the outside in yellow. And also Nicky Pedersen's in there as well, the Dane. Remember, he's coming in as a substitute in this race. Rickardsson, I think it is, just ahead. Pedersen gets into second place. Jason Lyons is pushed back down to third. Sweden leads. Denmark in second place, or is it Australia trying to get back into second there, courtesy of Jason Lyons? And the battle for second still continues. On the inside, it's Australia. On the outside, it's Denmark. And yes, Nicky Pedersen does manage to sneak through. The Poles and the Czechs are not going to score well from this 22nd heat of the night. But Sweden looking set for a maximum score, and at last Rickardsson seems to have got himself dialed into this track. He was beaten into second place playing the Joker last time out, but look at the way at last. This is the Rickardsson we expect to see. He's pulling away from everybody, and this battle for second still continues between Denmark and Australia, as Jason Lyons now trying to come round. Here comes Rickardsson. Rickardsson wins it. Second place for Nicky Pedersen of Denmark, and Australia have to settle for third position on this occasion. Disappointment for Poland as well. They played the Joker in that race. It did not work for them at all, finishing in fourth place, doubling up to just 2 points. Well, if they'd played it earlier, it could have been so different. In the overall standing, Sweden have come back into second place.
Yeah, sure was. Been struggling a little bit all night, and swapped bike for the last 2 rides, and a little bit wrong geared in my 4th race, and now was spot on, but a little bit too late.
What were you telling the lads just now?
I just told them, you know, that how I set my bike up, and advise them maybe to try the same, see if they can get going a little bit better. I think we've been lacking a little bit on the setup.
Always thinking, always working, Tony Rickardsson. I wonder if his advice will help Niklas Klingberg in this race. Let's look at the whole lineup. Hans Andersen for Denmark in lane 1. Piotr Protasiewicz for Poland, gate 2. Niklas Klingberg, there he is in the middle. Difficult off that middle gate. Lee Adams for Australia, and then Bo Brahel. He's replacing Tony Kasper. They seem to have swapped around in the last couple of heats. So he is a tactical substitute for the Czech Republic. Okay, just 3 heats to go now. The Australians trying to hold on, and it's up to Lee Adams here. Away we go, the pressure's on. Who's it going to be? Lee Adams not actually that fast off the line there. And Hans Andersen making a great start for Denmark off gate 1. So Denmark trying to get back into second place overall and beat the Swedes. Well, the Swedes are not doing so well because Niklas Klingberg is back in 4th position. And it is Bo Brahel, the Czech Republic. Oh, and problems for Poland. That's Protasiewicz. And Golob had difficulty in the last race playing the Joker. It's all gone wrong in the closing stages here for Poland. The runners-up last year, and in 2 heats, the chances now of getting the runners-up position really evaporating. Up front, we've got a great battle going on here as Hans Andersen for Denmark still in charge, but behind him, Lee Adams is trying to fend off Bo Brahel, the Czech Republic rider. Look at the way that Hans Andersen is riding. He can set the opportunity of getting the Danes back into second place overall and beat their great rivals, the Swedes. Just 2 more races to go after this one. Hans Andersen riding beautifully. He's going to take the victory for Denmark. Second place, all sparks coming off Lee Adams as he crossed the line there. But he did take 3 points for second place. Look at that, and the chains come off. On the line, would you believe it? The Australians getting away with it there. Well, that could have been a very different story, but he did pick up 3 points and maintain their healthy advantage. Look at Hans Andersen celebrating. and well he might. That was an important victory there, particularly with Niklas Klingberg of Sweden only managing to finish in 4th place and pick up 1 point. That has put the Danes into a clear 2nd position with just 2 races to go, but it's still only 2 points the gap, so Sweden might come back at them.
I'd say there was a bit of a stroke of luck there, you know. I felt weird, you know. It was like slip and chain, or something was happening during the heat. It felt like a flat tyre, but obviously it was something to do with the chain because it came off just as I went across the line. So, you know, a bit of luck. We got the 2 points, or the 3 points, I guess. And you know, all the boys are really pumped. We don't want to let it slip now. You know, we got some pretty fiery characters coming up with Ryan and Jason. So, fingers crossed.
Well, here is one of those fiery characters. It is Jason Crump, and he has it resting on his shoulders now. Can Australia take the win in this penultimate heat? All he has to do is finish 3rd or better. Even if the Danes win this heat and the next one, the Australians would still be champions if he's 3rd or better. And he starts from gate 2. That's not a bad position. There, his teammates keeping a close eye. Will Crumpy do enough here? Well, you have to say, if you had to bet on anyone, you'd have to bet on Crump because he is brilliant when the pressure's on. Around the outside he goes, but it was a great start. I have to say, for Peter Carlson of Sweden, and coming around the outside is Bjørn Pedersen of Denmark. Look at him go. Right up on the outside in white. That is the Danish rider. Sees a Swede ahead of him and he says, I'm not having that for long. And Denmark take over the lead, and Jason Crump is pushed back down to 3rd. Oh, and he's almost squeezed out by the pole there. That is Thomas Golob, no less. And Thomas Golob has the opportunity here of getting ahead of Jason Crump, and he won't give any favours to the Australian. They have enough of their own battles in the World Championship Grand Prix Series, but at the moment Jason Crump is doing just enough. 3rd place would make it the victory for Australia, and look at Crumpy go. He knows that's all he needs. He doesn't need to take any risks now. They're on to the final lap. Australia are heading towards World Cup glory once again for the 2nd year in a row, and Crumpy wants to take 2nd place. The victory is going to go the way of Bjørn Pedersen, but Australia will do it. Australia's turn to take the World Cup. They have done so with a heat to go. Australia are World Cup champions once again. And what a superb achievement for them. It's the 4th time that Australia's won a world title, but the 2nd year in a row of Speedway World Cup. They are dominant once again.
Well done, you're world champion.
What a feeling. I'm 34 now, I'm the old one of the team, and I don't know what to say.
Hell of a display by you guys, because you didn't start well, did it?
No, we didn't at all, and we didn't start well in Sheffield. And commiserations to Sweden, they should have done a little better out of that, but England. But I feel we deserve to win tonight.
Yeah, you know, it was not quite a performance like I had last year, but proves that it's a team event, and we all chipped in well tonight, you know, and we've got the result in the end, and that's what counts.
You knew this was going to be a big year, both for you and for Australia. It's turning out both ways at the moment.
Yeah, you know, I'm kind of running into a bit of form, and you know, my performance tonight didn't set the world on fire, but we had a good, solid, you know, unit, and that's what wins your team world championships, and we've done it like 3 of the last 4 years now, and we're pretty keen to keep hold of it for a while.
And so we move on to the last heat of the night, and we're still looking at who will be runners-up. A good battle in prospect. Michael Carlsen for Sweden, Chris Cegelski of Poland, Nicky Pedersen of Denmark, Thomas de Pinker of the Czech Republic, and Ryan Sullivan celebrating already, perhaps, but I'm sure he'd like to go out on a win. Here we go. The tapes are up, and look at the outside. Ryan Sullivan makes a great getaway, easing ahead of everybody, again going out wide, looking for extra grip, extra traction, and Australia get back in front. But what's happening behind them? It's Sweden in 2nd place at the moment, but it's Denmark chasing them down. It's Nicky Pedersen trying to get past, and he does. Nicky Pedersen moves up into 2nd place, gets ahead of Michael Carlsen, and this is all about the battle for 2nd place here on the night, to be runners-up in the World Cup. And it looks like Denmark's going to get that if they can just hold on here. Nicky Pedersen's moved up into 2nd. He's ahead of Michael Carlsen of Sweden. Behind them, we've got Thomas de Pinker and Chris Cegelski. In fact, Cegelski is in 4th place. De Pinker at the back at the moment for the Czech Republic. But this is where the interest centres. And for Denmark, it does look as though Nicky Pedersen, their team captain, is going to be able to hold on to 2nd and confirm that runners-up position. But Australia are celebrating their World Cup champion. champions, and Ryan Sullivan will take the final win of the night. Who knows, he might become world champion himself this year in the individual competition, but he takes the last win of the night. The Australians are over the moon, and second place to Denmark in that race is enough for the Danes to take the runners-up slot. So happiness for the Danes, who came through the race-off, remember. They didn't qualify automatically from the qualifying rounds, and they've beaten their great rivals, Sweden. But there are going to be some great celebrations amongst the Australians. And just look at the mood in the Danish camp. Nicky Pedersen getting the bumps after taking second place there. And confirmation of that result, Denmark finishing 4 points ahead of Sweden. They're very happy about that.
You played with him tonight. It's so perfect. It's team spirit, as I told you before. When we went into the final, you know, and it's not just about one rider. It's all 5 riders being out and doing so well tonight. It's incredible.
All the boys deserve it. Full team effort and world champions again.
Now listen, it's been a tough year, but and a tough day too. At the beginning of the evening, you guys were looking down.
Yeah, you know, we took a lot of rain on the track again, and it proved a bit tacky for everyone, and we battled down once again and managed to get it right and kept winning races.
And what about a week for Todd Wiltshire? Superb, huh?
He has to be the man of the moment, you know. He pulled us right through it twice now.
Well, not just Todd Wiltshire, but the entire team performed brilliantly tonight. Ryan Sullivan himself taking 3 heat victories, maximum scores, and that part of the success of the team, but consistency throughout their ranks. And when you've got a lineup like that, well, it's no great surprise. Ove Fundin presents his trophy, the trophy named after this great Swedish rider, and it's the Australian national anthem. Celebrations aplenty down there on the podium. Great team spirit, as we've heard, and really a great competition between all of the nations. 12 nations began at the start of this week. 5 events, 60 riders competing. But the spirit of the competition has been positive throughout. It's been tough. There have been 1 or 2 injuries. Remember Mark Laram's fall in the first meeting at Sheffield in those dreadful conditions. Tonight in Peterborough, the weather has been perfect, and it's been a celebration of Speedway. Neil Street, the manager of the Australian team, a very emotional moment for him as he holds that trophy for the 2nd year in a row. Who could bet against the Australians making it a hat-trick next year?